MET 1151, Guitar Manufacturing Using STEM Concepts, Week Dose. We're doing spreadsheets. It's fine. I'm fine. It's all fine. Stand by. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rattlecan Guitar Restorations. I am James. We are in our second week of our college credit guitar building course at Sinclair Community College in lovely Dayton, Ohio. That coffee was probably good 2 or 3 days ago. And what do we do this week? We got our instructor who has recovered from the plague, and he was able to do the chit-chat with us and explain his background. Super great guy. Full disclaimer, I know him. We have a common facility that we do work at. So he introduced himself, and then we introduced ourselves to him as well as to each other. And we have 10 people in the class. It's a full class. And we run the gamut. We have people in the class who have zero woodworking experience. We do have one person who is an actual CNC machining operator working on some pretty cool stuff. So all she has to do is just convert things from, plowing through metal to plowing through wood. We have people in there who have some musical experience. We have some people in there who have zero musical experience. I think it's going to be a great mix of people. So after we did our class introductions, let's see if we can put this image up. We briefly discussed just kind of parts of the guitar. In a class like this, you assume nobody knows nothing. This is a guitar. It is used to create music. It does so by vibrations that you cause and the application of forces that shorten and lengthen the strings into specific frequencies, which in this case of an electric guitar are transferred from mechanical energy into electrical energy, and then through an amplifier produces a sound. I mean, you literally start it out like that, and that's great. So we briefly talked about some of the pieces that we're going to do, and we also went over the fact that this is a course designed to introduce and reinforce STEM concepts using the guitar building project as the transport device. We're not in a custom shop building the guitar of our dreams. We are building a kit that is manufactured with a little room for modification and selection for the purposes of advancing this agenda of STEM concepts. So if you're wanting to do your own body design with your own wood selection, it's not going to happen. If you're wanting to build a telly with 3 single coil pickups in a standard telly configuration, it's not going to happen. You can modify your instrument as much as you want to, but you get this base kit for the most part. So you kind of have to operate within those parameters. So one of the first things that we did, and let's pull this up, is we have started work on an Excel spreadsheet. And there's a couple of different purposes for doing this. Number one is to really start to get an idea of how many parts are involved in manufacturing a guitar. Again, this is nothing crazy, but these are the pieces that you need to make a guitar. So what we have been tasked to do, we've been giving a list of different vendor sites on the web that we could go to and we could reference. What we have to do is we have to start filling out this spreadsheet. Now, you could go to StewMac or All Parts or Mighty Mite or Warmoth. I mean, you could go to anybody and start picking these pieces out. We've already purchased a kit. Okay, we already have this pile of parts already in the back, with our, that's assigned to us. What we're doing is we're getting introduced to the fact that when you say, okay, well, what kind of a guitar body do you want? There are people who have no idea what that means. They don't know what's the difference between this guitar that has two pointy things on the front and this one only has one. Oh, well, this one is a Stratocaster style and this one is a Les Paul style. I am, of course, using the names that we are familiar with. In a class, we have names for things that are not proprietary information because we're educational, and of course, you don't want to end up getting a nasty cease and desist letter from anyone. So, if I say I'm working on a single cutaway, then there's a pretty good chance it's a Les Paul style. So, the purpose of the exercise again is we're helping to introduce people who don't know all of these different parts that go into this guitar into kind of figuring out what they are. So as we're picking out a body, you get into this discussion of, well, this body is $85 and this body is $485 and it looks the same to me. Well, this one is made of poplar, ash, alder. This one's made out of black limba or mahogany, So you get to talk briefly about the things that go into making those decisions. Cost versus the density of wood per species, and how wood density has an effect on sustain. We also talked a little bit about workability. Somebody brought up the term Purple Heart and stainless steel for frets, and there was a brief discussion on tool life. It's almost a shotgun approach to some of this, because the topics that we were discussing about the body versus the neck versus the fretboard or the fingerboard, those kind of overlap. But then you get into a discussion about what's a pickup. And I'm looking at this page on the interwebs, and some of these look very similar, but the prices are all over the place. And this one's got one row of dots, and this one's got two row of dots, and this one's got just a single line. So you can see kind of the challenge that we have here is you have to have this discussion with 10 different people with 10 different varying levels of understanding, talking about pickups and mounting screws and potentiometers and jacks and jack plates. And, well, wait a minute, where does your jack go on this style of guitar versus this style of guitar? Because one goes in the side and one goes angled in at the top into the wood, and this one goes straight down into a pick. It's a giant pile of trying to figure stuff out. So what we ended up doing, and most of us got done, some of us didn't, and that's okay. Because again, some of these kits were waiting on the manufacturing process to make those bodies and get those bodies up and running. We're supposed to be making sawdust next week. We'll see. So in the meantime, we're looking at this spreadsheet, and I think because of one of the courses I took over the summer, which was PC apps for engineering, I think I'm going to rework this Excel spreadsheet template, because there are some things about it that I don't like. There are some things about it that like if we go down here, it says fret dots. Well, what if you want side dots? Fret dots can be a sticky issue because on some websites, they list them individually by size. some of them list them as a pack. And if you don't know, so then you have to, again, have this discussion with someone. What is the style of guitar that you're going to do? You know, why do I need side dots? Why do I need fret? What does it matter? Again, another discussion. So we're going to have, I think that's something I'm going to do. That shouldn't take me very long, but, and that was class. It was a shortened class, and next week we're supposed to get at it. So we'll see. From my point of view, was it enjoyable? Yeah, it was. It was enjoyable because throughout this process, I'm interacting with people who don't have the same knowledge base that I do. And at the same time, I am interacting with someone who has, a much greater knowledge base than I do. And so you get to take from a couple of people, and you get to give to a couple of people. And we heard, this is interesting. One of the ladies in our class, she is a musician. She plays, I don't know, something ridiculous, 8 or 9 different instruments, mostly stringed instruments and percussion. She was telling us that she was involved in a project somewhere over in Indianapolis where an artist, I guess that's the right term, an artist, had taken a grand piano, taken the strings off of it, and replaced those strings with like violin strings. And the instructor and myself are looking at each other going, I have so many questions. Because I'm thinking tension, sound. One of the questions I asked is, did you retain the hammer mechanism? Where it beats, you hit the key and it beats a string. And she said it did. So now I need to go onto the interwebs to see if I can't find this, because this has got me so intrigued, and I have so many questions about this process. And apparently that's one of the things that this artist does, is that they take a couple of different instruments and they meld them into a new instrument. So I'm super curious, and if I find something, I'll put it in the doodly-doo down there. So anyways, that was the week at guitar building class. I'm James. I'll let you know what we're doing next week. Remember, go to guitarbuilding.org and you can see if there's a class like this in your area. It would be cool to hear how the experience of other people around the country are doing this, because they're apparently on track to build 3,000 guitar kits this year. That's how popular this program is in junior high and high school, and apparently some college level. So anyways, I'm James. You guys have a great weekend. Remember, if I can do it, you guys sure as heck can do it. Cheers. Hey, if you like this episode of Rattlecan Guitar Restorations, you might want to check this video out as well. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you'd like to help the channel grow, consider stepping over to our Patreon page and giving that a look. Y'all have a good weekend. Cheers.